Welcome to your Transfer Bonanza. This week we have a spectacular three-part special.
Yeah, this is where we get the, a three-part special, mate.
A three-part special.
You are milking this, aren't we?
Yes, well, we've got a lot of transfer udders. There's a lot to milk, something. Right, let's start with the whole of part one is dedicated.
Just looking at this, mate, Match Magazine.
You keep reading it.
I'm going to colour in the white bit so it looks like a United shirt.
That's a good idea. Right.
5% off boots.
We're talking about De Gea, part one of this special. Oh, Depay, more like Dubai. That's a place, isn't it?
Move on.
Right, we're talking about David De Gea. Here we go.
Right, mate, I want to know. Answer me this truthfully.
Yeah.
All the facts. What's David De Gea said about this situation?
He has.
What's going on? Look at this, mate.
Stayed.
David De Gea?
Doesn't make any sense, does it? De Gea De Gea.
Adios? They put D in adios?
This one just says make your mind up. It's just aggressive. Right, he has stayed incredibly silent. This might be the biggest transfer situation in history that hasn't even informed us that God knows the answer. With Ronaldo, God knew what was going on. With Vidal, God knew what was going on. Pogba, I think, has pulled out. God knows what happened in my career. David De Gea has said nothing, which is kind of weird because usually you'd get like Nathaniel Klein at Southampton. I'll decide at the end of the season, that kind of stuff. Hummels has come out and said, yeah, thinking about things. David De Gea, and he's had opportunities to, but it's just silent.
He's had plenty of opportunities to. He's won Player of the Year twice. That's 2 acceptance speeches to just go, I'll see you next season. But he just hasn't said anything.
If he's not going to stay, he doesn't have to say he's going to see us next season, but he could at least imply, because we all know what's going on, and he knows we know. But he's staying quiet.
What has his agent said?
Well, back in February was the last time George Mendes opened his mouth about the situation, and what he said is that he expects Dave to stay. He's like, he's happy at the moment. I expect him to stay, but it's up to him.
So why then, mate? Tell me this for a chicken giblet. Why has his agent said, oh, we expect him to stay? Then why has it gone on this long?
Well, this was back in February, where maybe Real Madrid weren't pushing so hard for him. And also, back in February, his agent can't say, well, he probably will leave in the summer.
So what about LVG, mate? What's he
Louis van Gaal has said this. The law of Madrid may be too strong. He says he doesn't have to convince David De Gea that Manchester United is great. He says he sees that every day.
He knows that, mate. He plays it every week.
What he has with the fans, the credit he has at the club is not something he can guarantee at Real Madrid. Look at, Gareth Bale's car gets attacked every time he tries to get petrol. So it's not, they boo Ronaldo out there, don't they?
I just want to add a little interesting snippet into this.
Add it. Usually,
in a transfer situation, you're like, who's it going to go, who's interested? In this one, no one said anything, but it's explicit. It's Real Madrid or Manchester United. Yeah. That's very unusual, and that must mean that 99% there must have been contact. They know something's going on. We are in a dangerous situation here, guys.
Do you know what encourages how dangerous the situation is? That of all these newspapers, the Daily Star is probably the one with the most accurate headline. It just says, make your mind up. It does appear to be a case of David De Gea is just going to have to decide.
Daily Star.
No one knows if it's gone or not.
Throughout.
Right, shall we move on to what else people have been saying? Ed Woodward has told shareholders and directors and everybody else when he's been speaking that he expects comings and goings.
Comings and goings.
Players to leave, players to arrive.
That's going to happen every transfer window. That doesn't tell us anything.
But he said there are some players with 1 year left on their contract and he's going to try and give them new deals.
Oh.
But there will be comings and goings. They could be a goer.
Now, what's happening on the white side of the situation?
Oh, racist.
What are Madrid saying? What's happening? There's red and white, so it's white people and really embarrassed people.
Quite possibly, Carlo Ancelotti, who may or may not have a job, has been speaking as manager of Real Madrid, and he's back in Casillas. He's like, yeah, we love Eco.
He might not have a job next year, mate, so your opinion doesn't mean anything.
No, but for right now, when he has got a job, he's been saying, Casillas, we like Casillas, he's a great guy, he's our goalkeeper, he saves the ball.
He saves the ball.
He can't do throw-ins.
No managers ever said that. He's our goalkeeper, he saves the ball.
Yeah, they all say that. They love him, he saves the ball. He can't take throw-ins, but he saves that ball. Yeah, that's not ideal.
Casillas himself has said, I'm not going anywhere.
No,
I've been here all my life. I'll fight for this.
Yeah, sort of like...
Be on the bench, mate.
Yeah, if they sign Dave, you are done, Ika. Elsewhere, interestingly, even more interesting, I think, than David De Gea staying quiet, is the fact that Florentino Perez is staying very quiet. And usually he bangs on about their transfers, who they're going to sign. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Because of the presidential situation where he wants to get sort of kudos with the electorate. Staying quiet. Staying very quiet. It's weird from Perez.
Who else, mate?
His girlfriend. His girlfriend.
Aderney?
Yeah. 1
Listen
minute.
up, Aderney.
Hang on, be nice. He hasn't made his mind up yet.
Okay, Aderney, you lovely little lady.
Good luck in Eurovision.
There was a bit of
We'll
a
be voting
where
for a wink.
You said, I can't wink without my mouth coming up. So I was like,
yeah, do it.
Basically, there was a bit of a rumour.
Make love to the camera.
Aderney. Oh no, I've already done that. So she said she didn't like Manchester, but then she came out and she was like, oh, it's all been taken out of proportion. You twisted my words when I said I hated Manchester. You twisted them by twisting them.
We've got your back, Aderney. So have ours, all right? Yes, and another people, they tried to interview her, some other people, about Eurovision. It was interview for, and they just kept saying, they were like, oh, you're doing Eurovision, so what's Dave doing? Is he signed for Real Madrid? And she was like,
this is what annoys me, mate.
Can't hear you very well.
Disrespecting Eurovision by trying to make it about football. I like both things. She's trying to talk about Eurovision, they're like, David here, and she's like, I'm here to talk about my song.
Yeah, and they're like,
I'm one of the favourites.
And they just said, yes or no, is Dave coming to Madrid? And she went, oh, someone needs me, and walked off. So she wouldn't talk about it either. Elsewhere, people have been talking about it. Gary Neville, surprisingly quiet though, isn't he?
So many people
because he
talking
knows
about it.
Ryan Giggs, BFFs, knows what's going on. But he's been quiet. All he says is, try and get Bale if you can, if he has to, go. We'll talk about Gareth Bale later. There's 3 parts to this.
Is that worrying if Gary Neville's like, try and get Bale? Because he probably doesn't know what's going on. He'd be on the block.
But he has to.
Going like, what's wrong with this?
I think he has to say something, doesn't he? Gary Neville, because he's a pundit, so he can't stay quiet. So he's just, if anything, he's just repeating old stories we had a year ago about De Gea and Bale.
Talking about repeating old stories, mate.
Yeah.
Let's talk gossip. Let's talk about what the papers are saying about the situation.
Weirdly, Fabio Contral has been thrown into the mix. Nobody wants him.
When was that story printed? 2 years ago?
Oh! Burn, newspaper.
I don't understand this. This is why, I think if this story is true, Real Madrid are taking the bloody urine out of us, saying, why don't you have Contral? So we've got a left back, mate. We don't want Contral.
No, we don't.
Stop offering us Contral. We're an amazing player. We don't want that to happen.
We don't.
Give us Bale, and then give us 10 million, and then you can have De Gea.
This guy made a good point earlier. We weren't on camera.
And then you can swivel on this.
Because we know the fee for David De Gea has been quite low.
Yeah.
Because he's in last year of his contract.
Quoted at around 25 million. Hugo Lloris said costs more than that.
Ian was like, well, we don't need 25 million. If they're not going to pay, say, 40 or more, keep him for another year. Let his contract run out. We don't need 25 million pounds, do we?
Hope that Real Madrid sign another goalkeeper.
Maybe
and then just
take the gamble.
Please stay. We'll pay you.
Take the gamble. Gareth Bale obviously has been brought into it, but we'll talk about him in a bit. Personal terms, according to teens, newspapers in Spain have been agreed. But that is classic Real Madrid dirty politics, just feeding little stories to their propaganda machines.
Other people that have been linked, Petr Cech is now fully involved in the situation.
Yeah, he is.
His agents come out and said that Arsenal, Manchester United and PSG, all teams that Petr Cech would definitely want to sign for.
Yeah.
So he actually said, like, if any of those offered, he's interested. I think Cech wants to stay in London though, but I don't know. I mean, I'll text him. I'll see what he's talking about.
Good idea.
But he has to have a phone call with him. He can't hear you through his gimp mask.
Oh, okay, he might be our number 1 soon.
Right,
elsewhere, we've still got Victor Valdez. Give him a go, why not?
Yeah, Raymond van der Houw came out and was like, you got Valdez!
Play Valdez. And
well, you know a thing or two about playing for Manchester United. Largely a sub, isn't he, mate?
Well, he won the treble though, sort of, didn't he? Elsewhere, Sillenson.
We all remember Sillenson, the guy who was subbed off for a penalty shootout because he's never saved a penalty in his life before. And
what happened to Holland in the World Cup? They went out on penalties when he was in goal. Yeah, apparently we're after him for either £25 million or euros, depending on which paper you read. Ian, put your hand up if you want us to sign him. Yeah, that's how I feel too. So hopefully that one doesn't happen. That is your Transfer Bonanza Part 1 David De Gea special. Let us know what you think of the David De Gea situation. Get your comments in below. Now we will do Part 2, Attack, Attack, Attack.